Welcome to another episode of Hair Biz Radio with your host Zakirah and
Mikey.
And we are joined here with the beautiful, the wonderful Stormi Banks, who is the founder of the Pink Print firm.
Yes.
And they are certified grant writers. And so we are going to be diving into a wonderful conversation surrounding not just women-owned businesses, correct, but everything encompassing. And I've read a lot about what they're doing over at the Pink Print, and I think it's amazing. And I think that this is a conversation that we absolutely need to be having, especially in our community, so that people know how to access funding when it comes to starting businesses and even scaling businesses also.
So true. And that's debt-free funding. I think that's a really
debt-free funding. That is a very great point, because a lot of people will go get funding and you have to pay that funding back.
And if your business isn't making the money in the timeline of the no interest or 0% interest, then now it's probably coming out of your personal bill. So for a startup company, that can be pretty stressful.
Yeah, that's a really great point you made, because even in the home industry, when it comes to real estate, I was just having this conversation with one of my lenders, and we were talking about how a lot of these down payment assistance programs, the grants that they're giving out, they actually have to be paid back. Mm-hmm. So if you decide to sell your home, the grant that you received, you have to pay it back. There's not it's not free money.
There's stipulations.
So, there are very much so stipulations. So before we dive into our conversation today that I'm excited about, anything you want to share, Mikey?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I always have something to share, by the way. I'm excited because I know zero about grants.
Good.
So like in the whole running of my previous businesses and then even private label, we've never looked into that. There's some real estate stuff we've kind of been interested in because of like, depending on where you can do stuff, but that's kind of interesting to me. So I'm excited about the grant writing. I didn't know that I was supposed to wear fully black today.
He didn't get the memo.
I am also excited because I am wearing, of course, Built Basics, who does not sponsor us, but one day will. We're going to a hair show in Chicago this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Kind of like last minute kind of thing. Taking Marianne with me because I'm trying to teach her. She's our office manager and operations manager now, I should say. Excited about that. I just found out Built Basics opened a retail location in Chicago.
I'm sure you'll be there.
So I messaged them on IG. I'm like, you guys just opened. I'm definitely going to stop by. So I'm definitely going to stop by and let the staff knows, which they won't care how I talk about them every time on my podcast. 100% my whole closet is filled with their stuff. And so I'm excited about that. But I'm more excited about learning about grants today because I've never explored that kind of avenue for funding and financing and whatnot. And so let's go. Let me learn something today.
Let's get into it. All right, Stormi. So how did you even get into the industry? What made you do that?
I tell everybody it fell on my lap.
Okay.
Right? Because I wasn't a grant writer. I was a hairstylist previously before, which is why I'm excited to be here with you guys. But when COVID hit, all my salons shut down. I had mobile hair salons in New York. And I was like, okay, I still got bills. So what are we doing here? Good thing that in that first business, I had won a couple grants through New York State. And so I kind of had already understood how grants worked and what the process was. And during COVID, there was a lot of business owners who were needing money, and they needed money to keep their business alive. And so I was like, okay, well, let me use the skill sets that I have and just start teaching free online. I would just show up on live on Instagram every day. We would be like, now let's get into the Zooms because the Instagram Lives is going crazy. And then I started learning about, the whole thing just really took off until honestly, it was a demand. My clients were like, okay, well, you're teaching us, we get it, but can you do it for us? And I was like, yeah,
I can actually.
And then that's when I went through the certification programs, going through 1,500 hours of like development, procurement,
you said certification.
Budget. Yes.
She's certified.
Yeah,
very much certified.
Wait, so the class was 1,500 hours.
It's a process. It's not one class. It's like a whole program that you go through, and then you can choose to like work for someone else, or you can choose to like start doing it independently. I ended up finding a lady, Latasha Brooks, who I took a bunch of classes under, worked under her, who does like government contracts, huge, large grant opportunities. And then from there, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. Like, let's do this.
I love it.
I mean, because that's considerable amount of time for of training.
Right.
I mean, that's similar to, I think, like a hairstylist right now is what, 1,700 hours, 1,800 hours?
Yeah.
But that's, just for grant writing. Wow, that's that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
there's different programs, but the one I went through, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want to know.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I want to know front, end, back, front, side, everything.
That's how I would do it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love it. So how would you say, because you got started in 2021, the pink print firm. Okay. But before that, you had already been doing grant
2020
writing.
we were literally, I wasn't doing grant writing at all.
Oh,
I was just teaching what I knew personally from my experience.
Okay,
like,
gotcha.
Hey y'all, here's these resources that are available. This is how you guys can do this thing. You know, set your business up like this. This is exactly what I did front to back. And then I started realizing, I didn't do everything right. So I started finding other educators that could come in and like teach the real on like business development and systems and all these things. And it just became an organic community of women. And then from there, I was like, when they started asking, hey, can you do it? I'm like, well, let me start the business up. Let me launch Pink Print Firm. In March 2021, we were starting it up.
I love it. So from March 2021 to now, we're in 2025 now. I know across all industries, things start to shift, trends start to happen. A lot of new things pop up, and you have to kind of pivot or create different avenues for different things to happen. What can you talk about from when you first started to now, how the industry has shifted, if any?
For sure. I think now we have AI, right? And so that's been the biggest threat to the grant writing industry is, consumers or clients are figuring out that they want to be able to do things on their own, and they have the power to do so with technology. The only thing that I try to educate about, utilizing AI is that they don't have the education that a grant writer has. And a lot of grant writing that people don't understand is also relationships, like being able to call so-and-so from the Department of Education. They have this grant opportunity that's out. How can I get some information on the back end or the rubric that they're going to be using for the grant process? That's not going to be information that AI is going to support you with. And just the thought process in terms of how do I develop a message that will align with the grantor to secure this funding? That's a whole art process in itself. And AI isn't going to educate you on those things. So right now, it's shifted so much with technology, and how do we support our clients' desire to utilize AI and empower themselves, but to also respect the art and the craft of grant writing?
That's really good.
Should you give me an idea? We'll talk after this because I'm not giving you guys too much tea today, but you gave me an idea about AI and all this stuff that is kind of interesting. So just remind me after. Because it may or may not work. So I don't want, I only talk about stuff that I know is proven or stuff that I've gone through. So I got some ideas, but yeah. I mean, AI is limiting and it's exciting, but for today, I always say today is the worst it's going to be because literally it's something that gets better every single day, which is wild. We actually just did an episode talking about AI. And I showed Zakirah something I did with AI this past day. I texted it to you.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, dang, Mikey. I was like, hey, we getting good now. And she's like, how did you think of that? And sometimes with stuff in business and life, you just have to twist it a little bit. And then you're like, it's so simple, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe like getting a grant, which I've never done, and a lot of people probably listening have done, it might be not so simple, but it's something you should do. So let's continue talking about that.
Absolutely.
So when it comes down to you getting in the industry, I know it kind of fell into your lap, but COVID happened, your mobile salon shut down. How were you getting funding? Were you getting grant funding in the beginning when you first started your businesses?
Yeah, so my business, I actually started with my own initial capital. I went specifically for the Pink Print, I went for 10 grant opportunities. I won the 10th grant. It was a $50,000
Congratulations.
grant. Thank you.
Yeah.
That grant we used it to host an event for women entrepreneurs. It was our first event, and I was like, we're going to just go like big as possible and just do it. And honestly, that event put us on the map, like really showcase like a good brand introduction to women entrepreneurs, great socials, great education. And it really showcased that, Pink Print we're here to like be a resource and a real player in the game for women entrepreneurs. So that's kind of like how we funded it in the beginning was that grant.
Okay, I love it. So what would you say your values are within Pink Print? I know that working with women entrepreneurs, but what are some of the values that you all live by? Yeah,
we have a seminar that we do called Get Grant Ready Seminar, and it's our like running educational online seminar that we do. And we use Ready internally as well as a core value for our team. And it's results, education, determination, and integrity. Those are the literal four things that we live by, because I think through how new the process is for everybody, we have to be educating our clients constantly. Like, we have to be on the forefront of providing real actionable education for our customers and clients, and then results, right? If the product's not good, then you're out of business, sooner than you would think. So I think that being results driven and really just being hungry to make sure that we're creating these sustainable businesses and supporting them in that process, determination is hard out here,
definitely.
No matter what business or industry, it's difficult. So, and then of course doing it with integrity, like just being honest about, hey, this is just literally how it works. This is what we can actually do or can't do. And giving the choice, giving customers the option and the choice.
I love that. So take us through. We have a lot of people who, there's a Facebook group that we started back in 2014, and there's over
about 40,000.
40,000 people.
Pretty much women.
Yeah, women.
There's me. Hey guys.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah. But mostly Black women. A lot of Black women who are wanting to start businesses, but funding. It's always I don't have money to begin this business, or they don't know the possibilities of what you can do without your own funding to actually get started, to build something that is worth building, worth standing. And so talk a little bit about breaking the barriers of the negative mindset that some women may have going into starting businesses, and how your firm can help alleviate some of that mental pressure that they have when it comes to funding.
That's such a good question. I love that, because during our seminars, I always ask, do you believe your business is worthy? And I think the beliefs that have to be broken down is that my business is worth it. Like, I'm needed. There's a customer, there's a client who's literally looking for what I am drumming up in my spirit and in my mind that I have to produce. And if the only thing that is stopping me from producing said thing is capital, how do I find the resources to get that? And that's where Pink Print comes in. Is we like to call ourselves the partner in your grant success, because what we're doing is literally from education standpoint, when you first getting started, developing your business, creating your grant proposal, finding grant opportunities, educating you through the process on why it's taking longer, how to follow up, or how to build relationships, so that you're not only just constantly applying for grants, but you're building grants as an actual revenue stream in your business, right? Grants are unlimited funding that you can be able to get constantly. There's no drought in grant opportunities and money that's available. It's just being able to create the messaging around why your business is so needed. And that's probably why people have that, delay in producing what they have in their mind, is just feeling like, is it worthy enough? Like, is this actually something that can be great and good? And I'm sorry, if you thought about it, it's good.
It's good, yeah.
If you thought it.
If it was dropped in your spirit, it was good. Yeah. I love that. Yes, I absolutely love that. So from the clients that you've had, that you've worked with in Pink Print, can you kind of share some testimonials, maybe from people who started off not really thinking they can get funding, or their business was kind of like very much so boots on the ground, and now they're flourishing?
I have so many like that.
I'm sure you do.
I'm really hands-on, not in the operations, but in the relationships in my business.
Okay.
And that's like why I started. I just love the stories.
Yeah.
There's a lady, Bonita Clemens, specifically. She has a nonprofit and she has a for-profit. She was like, Stormi, before working with you, I never thought that my for-profit business could get funding. She always thought grants was only for nonprofit businesses.
That is a misconception.
It sure is. Yeah. It sure is. And so she ended up, we applied to a QuickBooks grant, Intuit QuickBooks.
Yeah.
She got a $10,000 grant on her first application.
Come on, Bonita.
And she was like, I'm a believer now.
Right. Yeah.
And that really did change her concept of the worth value of what she's producing. And she's like, oh, somebody else believes in what I'm doing and will give me money that has no strings attached. I don't have to pay this back, and I can use it to grow. She created an additional revenue stream in her business with that grant money that is now bringing her more money to fund the business, long term.
Wow.
Cash flow is one of the biggest reasons why businesses fail. So if you can get a grant to create more cash flow, hello.
That's a no-brainer.
So that's just one. We have tons of 5-star reviews all over the, website and on our Instagram, but that was one that always sticks out to me because she didn't believe. Yeah. And that was a big testament.
I love that. And that's a big testament to you and your core values that you live by, Ready, and the people who you have working around you, that she felt very comfortable afterwards. Like, I felt safe here. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Let's talk about the misconception of the for-profit and the nonprofit, and why some people believe that you can't get funding as a for-profit?
You know what it is, and I've been doing a lot of research on this in our business to really understand how to break this down in webinars. I'm still working through a lot of that process, but what I think it really is that people think when you're going for grants, you have to have this like crazy mission, like you got to be helping 100 homeless people get houses, or you have to be feeding kids in Uganda. Like they really think the mission has to be a like super life-changing mission, and it doesn't. It could be something that simply revolutionizes your community. It could be something that changes the lives of your clients currently. You know what I mean? So it's, if you can do a little good, there's a lot of grant money. And I think that's why people thought nonprofit, because nonprofits typically have those type of mission-based businesses, but you can be money-based and still, you know, get grant money. So I think that's what the disconnect was, is people feel like they had to do the most.
So like taking a few steps, like, or like bird's eye view, because we're talking about grant money and we're talking about getting it and such. Tell our listeners, where does grant money come from? So that's like the beginning of all this. Let's go all the way up to the beginning. It comes from somewhere. Where is all this money coming from?
This is exciting. I feel like I'm in a webinar right now, and I love educating y'all. This is so good. Okay, so for people watching, I'm going to break this down as simply as possible because it's pretty vast for the time that we have. But there's basically 3 main types of grant opportunities, and that's government grants, which is going to be your federal grants and your state grants. This is coming from the federal government. They have budgets in the health department, the education department, the medical department, agriculture. So they're giving grant money to these large departments, and they're dividing it up for states and whatever other programming they have. Then you have corporate grant opportunities. It's like your FedEx grant or the QuickBooks grant. Those grants are typically corporations who want to increase their social responsibility or tax write-off at the end of the year. And they're offering grant opportunity, or they're launching a new product and they want to get a bunch of leads, right? Then you also have your private or foundational grants. So these are like when Beyonce did her grant for beautypreneurs, that was her foundation. When Megan Thee Stallion just offered one with her foundation, Kevin Hart's foundation, those are private foundational grants. So those are from a nonprofit organization who's raised money through fundraisers or whatever they may have raised money through, and now they're giving out grants to support their mission. Those are the 3 different ways.
That's a really good breakdown. I was
going to say, with a lot, especially at the time of recording this, the landscape for grants on a federal and government level.
I was just about to ask that.
What is that looking? I might be asking. It might be a little early to have a clear indication of what's happening. But what have you seen any changes as of yet? As the federal government seems to be making a lot of cuts.
Yes, there are a lot of cuts. Budgets are changing. So from just an internal perspective, speaking with a lot of people about it, what's happening is there's still, the funding is there, but it's lower. So now they're shifting from this, like, we're just going to fund a project just to say that we did something, to they're wanting to become more like investors in the project. So they want you to showcase, how are you going to incorporate the department into this long term? What's the longer term vision? That's how we're finding, okay, this is the shift that needs to be made. Even if there's budget cuts, it's still money available. And at the end of the day, it's always going to be a competitive based program, right? Grants are competitive, whether there's $100,000 or $10,000, you got to fight for it. But if you have something good, you're always going to get a piece of the pie. So don't let that scare you, is what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of people have been in like, what are we going to do, Stormi? And I'm like, I'm Captain Stormi.
We got I got you. I got you. I love that. We're going to take a little break because I need to know, what are you putting on your face? Because it's gorgeous. I'm joking, but your skin is so beautiful.
Thank you. Yours too.
Absolutely.
Yours
Thank
too,
you.
Well, I don't want to tell you that story. I'll tell you that story off camera too. I just had some work done,
You know what?
and my new red light mask.
Oh, yeah,
you know about those?
No, I've seen them on like TikTok.
So, they're actually clinically proven to work. So I just got one, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I started using it, and I feel like it's pretty good. They're about $500 for like a legit one. And so I use it, they say 3 to 4 times. So, I use it 7 days a week as long as I'm in town. I don't want to travel with it. But I'll tell you about like the stem cell thing after we get off the thing.
Okay.
It's a little too crazy for this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Were you about to ask something?
Look at Zakirah. See, she's trying to stump me because me and Zakirah got synergy on the pod. Let's get back to business, because the clear, perfect face was a little distracting for Zakirah on the camera. This was no filter, no editing here. This is how it is.
Right, I know, right?
So let's get back to the grants. what is your opinion just on the, going back real quick to the federal grant level? What is your opinion about them kind of locking it down, making people more responsible? Do you think this is a good thing?
So far, it has been. I'm not going to speak for long term, because what has happened is a lot of other corporations and foundations have championed up to have like specific programming. So what I was seeing a little bit more in 2024 was like these wide open grants for entrepreneurs, grants for women, grants for mom. And now they're niching down a little bit, which helps me better position my client.
That is
because
true.
I know they're looking for this specific thing. So it actually has been helping a lot of my personal strategy in our business.
What I like about it personally is I don't like the cutting of the funding of it unless it's necessary. I don't understand the federal budget as much as people in Washington, I guess. I don't even know if they understand it, but here we are today. What I do like about it, and I have love-hate with giving people stuff for free, because we have done a lot at Private Label with giving back and giving people stuff for free. And I like the part where maybe they're holding people a little bit more accountable. So if people know if they're getting this money, they actually have to do something, go through with the plan, because we know a lot of people, they start off super hot for that first 30 days in the business. And this business is like, it's not even a marathon. It's like 100-mile run, right? Like this is something long-term. So hopefully it keeps people a little bit more accountable to what they say they're going to actually do and with the money, so the money doesn't go wasted. Because I hate wasted money where it could be going to someone that maybe didn't pitch their business as well, but will put in the work and at least try. So hopefully it can help, settle some of that out. That's just my take on it.
So walk us through the timeline of actually applying for a grant, getting a grant, funding the business. How does that work?
24 hours?
That would be incredible.
Tomorrow.
And that's the expectation, right? Is that it's
For
something a little
That's
quicker.
why I was joked about it, because I know people think, did I get it? You just applied yesterday. Like, give me a break.
Stormi, any updates? They always. But, and that's part of the reframing of our clients' minds from the traditional route that they go for funding. You know what I mean? If you're going for a credit card, you get approved on the spot, and now you have 24% interest. So to mitigate 24% interest, you probably need about 24 days in delay time to wait for the grant. So now, in terms of timeline, it's a couple main dates. So you have your open date, which is when the grant opens. It's usually a 30-day grant cycle, which means it's going to be open for 30 days. You have a deadline date, which is the date no one else can apply. And then from that point in time, you're waiting about 4 to 6 weeks for the review process. Now, that's shortening because AI, a lot of grantors are using AI for reading over applications. And they're going to be getting people out of the way immediately with like, did you use AI? Or did you have grammar mistakes up to so many? Or did you, there's like certain criteria that the bot is doing to kick people out. So 4 to 6 weeks right now, and that will shorten. And then from there, you get notified that you're a recipient. And typically it takes, and depending on the funding source, of course, anywhere from, 2 business days to 14 business days, and you have money in account.
I love that. And all the processes are different as far as timeline.
From the corporate, federal, state, all those different opportunities change it quite a bit.
Okay. So for a new business owner who is just getting their feet wet and they want to explore funding, what are some of the base level steps that you teach on your webinars or when you're on podcasts or your social media where you don't have the full hour of spiel, but it's like hey, this is what you're going to need to make sure you have in order to even start applying?
You're asking all the right questions.
You
really are. I'm like, are you a grant writer for real? No, girl. You just know everything to ask. So this is good because when I have a client come to me where I feel like I'm going to have the most success is on the very basic level. Please have a registered business. Like the business is fully registered with all the updated paperwork that you need, right? Please have a website for that business because we have to submit some kind of information on the business to the grantor. Have some social media presence so that you're searchable because they do search businesses when they're going through the application process.
Okay.
This will be like, an easy way to build more searchability is have a YouTube page, have a Google listing, have a Yelp, have an Instagram account, just the basic stuff that a business should have. And then from there, what I love to see is because grants take about 3 months to be able to apply. I would love if in that 3 months we can be beta testing your product or your programming, whatever you're trying to get that funding for, on a really small level. So if I can say, for instance, I had a client named Candace. She owns Uncovered Beauty, which is like a skincare. If you're like, hey, my product heals eczema and psoriasis and all these other claims that you're making, let's do a beta test on 10 of your family and friends with the product over a 30-day period. Let's get the feedback form from where they started when they worked with you, like prior to working with you, and then 30 days after utilizing the product for that period of time. What were the results that we can actually say from results that I can add into the application to say, hey, we were able to do a testing on 10 people, and 9 out of those 10 people saw X amount of results. So I know if we get the funding at this level, we can scale these type of results in the future.
That is gold.
I can win any
That
grant
is
if
gold.
I have beta test.
Oh my God. That is real gold. I love that. And some people don't think about that.
Nope.
They just think about, I want the money and can you give me the money or not? But that, incorporating that, it sets you apart.
Yes.
Because it's like, who else in this big stack of applications was beta testing and gave results for what it is that they're asking for money for?
So good.
That is gold.
It really is.
I love that.
Now, for the grants and the opportunity to receive a grant, where in the business is it acceptable? So like it could be for a new business. What if the business has been around for 5 years, for 10 years? Is there grants coming in for businesses of all ages?
Literal.
Okay.
There's grants at any stage. I've worked with people who literally had the basics we just talked about to 10-year businesses doing 40 million, so it just depends on what you're looking for, and you have to be realistic about how much you're going to get to, right? If you're a brand new business and you've barely handled budgets of, 50,000, you're coming in, unless you have like a product that's just like a unicorn, right? Then that's a different conversation. But just on an average business to business level, you're not expecting to get $100,000 for your first grant.
Right.
So you just have to be able to be realistic. And you can grant stack. Like I said earlier, it's unlimited, right? So you can apply for 30 grants in a month, win potentially 10%, 3 grant opportunities that month, and utilize all of that funding to do the things you need to do.
Now, would you use pretty much the same application and just submit it to all these different places, or how does that work?
Y'all are so good.
Some say good, some say great.
I thought that was proprietary information. Literally, part of Pink Print's whole formula is we need data. We need to know what's working and what's not working with the application, because there's so many variables in winning grant opportunities. We have this thing where we tell our clients, we're going to use this one proposal for the next 12 months working together. If we can get data on a year of applications, we know exactly, I'm talking about to the T, what messaging hits for what different type of grants and what different type of missions that the grantors have. If every time you're going for application, you're writing a different mission statement, a different vision statement, a different budget, a different reason why you want the money, you never know, why is this not working?
Yeah.
And one of the ways that people give up so fast with grants is that they don't win. If you're not getting the result in an applicable amount of time that you feel like is reasonable, you're going to quit. But how are we supposed to actually analyze your losing or your winning if we do not have that data on what we're writing?
Oh boy, she's opened up a whole thing with me because I love this kind of stuff. Now, here's an idea. Now, what if we did 2 applications and we run it for 6 months and we A/B test which one? So you're going to send 30 here, 30 here, this one X amount. So maybe we do that, and then
That's good.
can we implement that?
I like that.
There we go. Let's
I really
let's
like that.
go.
A/B testing,
That
yeah.
sounds like my Clavio.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It is like Clavio, because that's truly how you're going to find what works, because we do a lot of A/B testing. At Private Label, with what we do, it's all about conversion rate and how we
Correct.
can convert more people and what little changes are we making. So I love the idea of maybe implementing some A/B testing. Say, guys, we're going to run this for 6 months, maybe even 3 months, depending on how many we're getting it out. If it's only to like 5 and 5, you don't really have that much of a pool to work with, but depending on how much you can get out, or maybe it's not by months, it says, I don't know how many you would do. Like, okay, let's just say in a year, how many applications on average would you be sending out?
I mean, we tell our clients 1 grant a day keeps the debt away.
Okay, so
But I would say they probably do 50% of that.
Okay, so let's just say it's in 6 months. So we're going to say 1 grant a day is 365. Let's say working days 300. We're going to cut that in half. We're at 150. Let's say our first 100 grants, we're going to do 50 and 50, and we're going to A/B test which one's going to work, and then we're going to really know, and then expect if you stick with us, you get it? If you stick with our service, we're going to really be able to skyrocket your success after we got those going. I love your business, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think about it because I think about our Facebook group, the Hair Business Blueprint Facebook group, and like I have all these people in there and they ask about this kind of stuff literally all day and I never learned about it. Yeah. So I'm so excited to have you as a contact, and that's one of the reasons why we have this podcast, because you literally would be like fire in this Facebook group of 40,000 women, because this is like they all want this.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. Take us through the pink print. So it started off as a community, and then you went into service-based, where you guys actually started doing the done for you package. So in the community, what do people get to experience?
We do classes every Thursday.
Okay.
So mostly hosted by me still. I really just enjoy doing it. And then in the community, we just have a lot of our clients who are winning grants and can talk about the process from a genuine perspective. They'll be like, girl, don't get discouraged. Like, it took me 50 before I got one, but that one has changed my business. Or strategies on how to utilize grant opportunities, because a lot of people don't know too, grants are not tax-free. They're debt-free, but they're not tax-free. So there's a lot of strategy in terms of how to utilize that funding properly to avoid some of those, tax burdens that could come at the end of a year. And, it's just seasoned professionals in their business also giving business advice. I just posted yesterday. I be in there posting like my mind. Like it's like a mind dump for me. I'll be like, hey y'all, I just had to fire an employee of 5 years. Like, this is the process I went through. This is the emotions I had. I just be telling them like the real of like business heart to heart. And we be in there chatting. Yeah. We be in there chatting, get into the grant funding, getting the education, networking. We host a ton of events. We got a golf social coming up April 5th. So, we're just doing all the things.
Okay. Yeah. I love that.
So you get into, like, if they sign up, they're getting into an online community that's like a closed group online community. Okay.
Yeah.
And you teach them the process of attaining grants.
Oh, yeah. There's like 76 classes in there right now on grants and funding and strategy.
And then, so you have that online community, but as well as that, you have one portion of your business is actually writing the grants for them. You're probably going to do a couple interviews or something with them. What's that process like for you to be able to write the actual grant for your client?
Yeah, we do. So our service is find, write, and apply to grant opportunities on your behalf. So we really want to take all of the time constraint out of it for you, so you can just do some initial onboarding stuff, fill out a questionnaire, get on a consultation call, and then from there we utilize a strategy and just run it by you and let you know, like, hey, this is what we're going with, hey, this is what we're doing, these are the grants we're applying to, and just keeping you up to date with like grant trackers. And then you can kind of come in and out at your convenience. But once you sign up initially online and we go through the questionnaire, the consultation, we're really just off to the races. It takes us right now about 7 to 14 business days to complete a grant process with someone, depending on how many grants that they contract us for.
And because I know how people are in this TikTok, I have 2-second attention span era. Can you please let people know how important it is to take their time and to fill out your questionnaire that is going to allow you to make the greatest grant possible? Some tips for them for this onboarding process to be able to explain things in detail clearly, so somebody that maybe doesn't understand your business can then write the perfect grant that is going to fund your business and change your life.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. But that's why we give our clients like 60 days to be able to fill out that questionnaire. Wow. Because we're like, look, we need you to do this right. Yeah. And then we also have like YouTube video support. So there's like a whole hub that our clients have, like how to fill out the questionnaire, how to know your mission, how to do this. That way they can answer the questions with that detail, because our grant writers don't know you. So they got to go get the information from you. They got to put your tone of voice on it. They got to go look up the industry, the statistics, the everything. And we need that questionnaire filled out. And please don't use AI to read. Because we'll lose a lot of the voice. And the voice is why grant writing is so important still, is because the passion that comes off the page when you're reading it. As I've been a judge on a lot of grants, and you can feel it on the page. Like, you can see it. It's like, oh, this person is gung-ho about their business. Yeah. And you just want to be a part of it.
Is there a way for the submission process where maybe you could record your own video talking about, or your own voice for people that aren't great writers? Because I feel like, especially with AI and as time's gone on, speaking can sometimes help, as well as, because you nailed it when you said tone of voice. And literally you could give your grant writers a tone of voice for them to actually, because on an iPhone, you can just start recording your voice and you have the questionnaire and they can kind of talk it out. What do you think about something like that?
Yeah, that's why we implemented the early on consultation. So we did that one in order to go over the questionnaire with you. So we're like, okay, now that we have what you've produced, let's go through it in detail to just let you write. And we have Otter AI in there recording it. And that's a big piece of what our grant writers use. We, listening to it back, hearing your tone of voice, hearing your cadence, utilizing your natural talking as the writing in the grant proposal. So it's super customized.
So when you go through that process, the interview is with the actual grant writer that's going to be writing your proposal?
It's with the team. So it's the specialist, the team that'll be working with you. Because in our company, the main departments are customer service, of course, which is mostly April. And then we have our grant writing team, but then we have our application team. So that's who does like all the research and the applying. So those are two separate things. So the team will be there with you to make sure that everyone's like on one page.
Okay.
And the rubrics, I'm assuming, are completely different in each grant writing.
Yeah, and it depends on the mission of the grantor. Like if they're like, we want to fund more projects that are focused on helping people in underserved communities, they're going to get more points than if they're doing this, right? And you won't know the rubric. It's an internal thing that they utilize, and they rarely put it on the website.
Got it. And what would you say, recommendations for websites that people could go to for grants that they can look at? Are there any that you typically share that are open? Okay.
I think easy starter, user-friendly is helloskip.com. I think that's like one of the ones I recommend all the time. They're super user-friendly. A lot of pictures. So if you're new, it helps you navigate better. And if you're a little bit more in tune with what's going on in the grants, we use grantwatch.com heavily in our business. It's still more user-friendly than like grants.gov. Little less grant jargon than grants.gov too. So you can navigate it if you at least know a little bit of language.
I love that. And then you have some events coming up. You said April 5th. I didn't see that one, but you also have a big conference coming up April 19th.
Yeah.
So we can get this podcast out before then.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what's going to be happening in both of those.
Absolutely. So April 5th is a smaller community event
that's
that we're hosting.
Got it.
Yep, that's a golf event.
So y'all need to actually get in the pink print so you can attend. Yes.
Come on in. And then the April 19th is our larger conference. So this is a women's marketplace. And the whole idea behind this is we wanted to tell the stories of the women that we serve on a day-to-day basis. We have some super dope businesses that just don't get enough attention. And so we were like, let's host a marketplace for them to come out, sell their products, goods, get in front of customers. And we've just been tapping into tons of community. Honestly, we have some panels going on. We have some grant seminars that I'll be teaching live there as well, pitch competition live that we'll be doing as well. But for me, the main objective is how do we get the voices of the people in our community heard through whatever avenue. I absolutely
love that. I love that. And how can they get tickets or register?
Absolutely. So it's on our Eventbrite. It's called the Women's Marketplace. You can also visit our website at www.pinkprintfirm.com, and it's on there as well.
I love it.
And can we sponsor some tickets for you guys' community?
Absolutely.
Yes. A few people would like to go to that.
Yes, absolutely. We can figure out how to do the sponsorship, but how many people would you like to sponsor?
Let's do 25.
Okay.
From you guys' community.
Let's do it. I think they would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. That's exciting. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Anything that you didn't share that you think is information that people need to know when it comes to grant writing or hiring a grant writer to do the grant writing?
Absolutely. I think in terms of choosing grants as your method of funding, you have to keep in mind that your first couple of months, you're not going to get the funding. So start looking for funding before you're ready to launch the business. Or if you're already launched and you're already in business, just kind of know that your next project, you need to be funding, like going for grants 3 months in advance before you need the actual funding. So that would be the main thing I would tell people is grants is a preparation strategy. It's not just something you go do online and then you're approved that day.
Yeah.
This isn't, hurry money. This isn't desperation money. This is sustainable funding. So I want people to really understand the process is different this way.
Okay. And then we have a lot of people who they're like, I want to become an entrepreneur. I don't want to quit my job though. But I want to start a business. From your perspective, because how long have you been an entrepreneur? Because you owned mobile hair.
I've never clocked a job ever.
Never. I love that.
Since the day I was born.
Yeah, but I came out the womb. I love that. So what is a piece of advice that you would give someone who is looking to actually start a business? What is a piece of advice that you would give them when it comes to just jumping out?
Yeah, I could go either way because I could give like, here's a business strategy advice, but everybody's on a different level. I honestly think that the best advice or the best practice that I've had, I'll do two. One is that weekends are for getting ahead, not for rest. This is something that I think has collapsed a lot of my time frame to get to the success I wanted to see because I was doing the little bit extra on the days that everybody else was chilling. And as an entrepreneur, at least your first couple years, you do have to be obsessive about the business. You have to be in the data, in the analytics, testing things, trying things, you know, taking L's and just being comfortable to try.
Yeah.
And then my second thing would be simple as that it is cool to try. Right? I've had launched so many things under Pink Print that I thought was going to be super dope that everybody would love. And I failed big because the idea was so big, you know? And right now we're going through a franchising process with Pink Print because I have this big idea and thing that I want to do. And I'm comfortable with if it doesn't work.
Yeah,
you really do have to get comfortable in the median. And I use this quote. I'm like, never let a hard time get to your head and never let a good time get to your heart. Like,
oh, that's
just
good.
stay even kill.
Yeah.
Just relax, be comfortable in yourself and go for it.
I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. You're accepting new people into the community
every day,
every single day. I think this is so great because, especially in our community, people don't understand how you can actually get funding. And like we said at the beginning, a lot of people think that for-profit businesses can't get funding. And just the breakdown that you did from the beginning, talking about the misconceptions and then also the different types of funding that there are, the 3 different levels, I think that that's such gold information in addition to the data testing that you recommended so that they can actually see what are some results. Everything we covered was amazing, but I'm so glad that you're doing this work because there's not a lot of people that will literally get in the trenches with you and teach you and help you. They may do it for you. They may let you know that there's grant money out there, but they're not like next to you cheering you on, wanting to see and breaking everything down and helping you shift your mindset about funding. And I love that so much because we need it. Definitely.
Yeah, we do. And I'm honestly just so grateful to be in the position. It's a lot of responsibility to remain that person in everyone's eyes. And as much as sometimes it's hard for me too, I just thank God, you know, and I pray for obedience, you know, every day to make sure that I'm just like staying focused because it's more work to be done.
Absolutely. Well, before we begin to close out, are there any obstacles that you want to share that you've gone through in this entire process of building a business and kind of what were the lessons?
I think I can say the biggest obstacle that I struggled with and probably sometimes still do is when I was transitioning from hair to becoming a grant writer full term, I didn't realize that I did hair for so long that that's who I identified as. That I was like, I'm a hairstylist, I'm a hairstylist, period, right? And so one thing that I'm working on with myself right now is to stop labeling myself.
That's
I'm not
really
a hairstylist. I'm not a grant writer. I'm not a founder. I'm not a business owner. I'm not an entrepreneur, right? I'm anything. And I want to keep that looseness so that I never get confused on who I am and what I'm capable of. Because all the skills that I have, I can utilize those skills. Yeah. I'm a development of the skills and the habits that I have, not the labels that are out in the world.
I like that because like on my Instagram profile, it doesn't say like CEO private label or founder private label. It just says working hard at private label.
Yeah.
I don't need a title. I don't really care about titles because sometimes I'm the CEO and sometimes I'm sweeping the floor.
Hello.
So like whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
That's
just
good.
going to do what it takes to run your business at the end of the day.
Yeah. I actually love that. And I want to adopt that even for myself. Like when it comes to labels and identity and getting all wrapped up into this identity that you think you have to be. And it's like, seasons change as we get older, as we grow, your identity will change. And labeling yourself as this one specific thing makes it that much harder for you to start the growth process and even just continue to flourish. So I absolutely love that. Yes. Tell everybody where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, how they can join the community, all those things.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. This is like probably one of my favorites ever.
Oh.
And I'm excited to be here with you guys as well, watching this bag. Please follow me all over the socials. I'm at Stormi Banks is my official page, but of course the business page is at Pink Print Firm. And DM me. You know, I'm really chill. I'm like a homegirl, so I just be at the house.
Yeah. I love it. Anything else you want to add to Mikey?
No, this was awesome.
Yeah.
So I just think this is going to help so many people. I think within our listeners and groups and everything, I think there's definitely some synergy here. So this was perfect.
Yes, and thank you again to Stormi and the Pink Print for wanting to sponsor 25 women for their event on April the 19th. We're going to put that inside of the Facebook group and maybe even do an email.
Maybe put it on Instagram. Like maybe do it on and just have everyone go there and we can just do, I got some ways.
Yeah, okay. Mikey's probably going to make it a thing, a situation.
It'll be easy.
But yes, we appreciate you for joining us today. This has been an amazing conversation. I would love to keep this conversation going and just continue to be successful and soar. And to the business owners out there or people who want to get into business, make sure you run this episode back, take notes, go to her website, and then also check out a lot of the other episodes that we have where we're discussing business management and all the things. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and join us for another episode soon.
Later.